Hi, this is Maria Sanchez, and welcome to the Maria Sanchez Show here on KADYTV.com. We are about the county, by the county, and for the county. So if there's anything that you'd like us to learn about, to know about, to investigate, to cover, to promote, that's what we're here for. And you can see that on our website at KADYTV.com. Contact us and we'll be happy to follow through. We have in studio with us Carla Bonney. Carla is the chair of the Ventura County Tea Party. And Carla, before we get into the specifics of what the Tea Party is in Ventura County and what it means, could you share with our viewers who you are, and we'll get into what motivated you to get to the position that you're in with the Tea Party.
Sure. I'm married and I have 9 children. I have a business. I sell artwork, and I've had that business for a long time. I live in the city of Ventura, and I've lived here since 1987.
Okay, you have to, as the mother of 4, I want to know, what is it like to have 9
children?
First of all, go through their ages.
Well, I think I said I stopped telling how old my oldest ones were in public, but they start at 12 and go up to 29.
12 to 29, so that's 17 years and 9 children. Mm-hmm. That's about every, 20 months?
Something like that. It averages out. Some were more and some were less than 2 years.
And no twins?
No twins.
No twins, okay. Because I had...
Five girls, 4 boys.
Oh my goodness.
And it's kind of a crazy house. We have 7 living there now, but the thing is, when you have 9 children, you always have friends over, and they're always going places, and so you never know who's spending the night at the house when you have that many kids. So you might have 9 kids, but then you might have 11 kids with two friends staying.
I often wondered about that because I grew up in a Catholic world, and so I am one of 4 children, and I used to always apologize for that. I would say, there's only 4 children in our family, because my best friends had 5 and 7, 9, 13, 17, you know.
There was 4 in my family too, and I was always jealous of the guy, and he was probably Catholic, I think he might have been, that had 8 in his family. I thought that seemed, like a goal.
I know. They'd say, how many in your family? How many kids in your family? I'd say, only 4.
Yeah. That's cute.
So, but I have 4. To have 4, I know what it means in terms of preparing. I used to always cook for 10, knowing that there was always going to be people coming over or leftovers. I don't know how you cook for.
You just cook
15.
Like you get the biggest pots, and you always make everything in the biggest pot, and then you never have to worry. You always have enough. And the thing is that you rarely have leftovers because there's always someone else showing up.
Right.
And I don't like have real set schedules. We make dinner at a certain time according to when I stop working and decide to start making it, or one of the kids might make it. But we don't worry when we eat, and if there's leftovers and some of the kids haven't eaten, we don't worry. We just let them come in. They're all big kids now,
We don't worry.
Yeah.
So Carla, how does that allow you, free you, make you available to handle... because I'm assuming, being the head of the Tea Party for Ventura County, that's a volunteer position.
It is.
Okay. So let's get into what led up to your participation in the Tea Party.
Okay.
Were you a Republican, a Democrat?
Well, I consider myself a conservative, but being that, I am a Republican. I remember when I started actually getting involved at the first time politically versus just having an opinion on everything. It was when Obama started running, and McCain was the choice. And I really didn't want McCain to be the choice, but once he was, and I started paying attention to Obama on what he stood for, I really knew that he was going to have some pretty radical views when he came in office if he got elected. So what I did, I got a notice on an email saying, you can make these phone calls from your home or office and just call 50 calls a day. So I started doing that, and then I started making more than that a day, and I ended up making 760 phone calls to try to get people in swing states to vote for Obama. McCain. And then after...
But wait a second. So you were calling on behalf of the Republican Party?
Yeah, on behalf of McCain.
In spite of the fact that you weren't pleased that he was the choice?
Right, because I knew he was the better of 2 evils.
Okay.
So then after that I got a thing saying that buses were going to Nevada, being a swing state, to try to get him to win that state. Buses from California, because we were considered, we had no chance.
Right.
So my husband and I went and walked precincts, went door to door, And, oh, it was really eye-opening. The first store we went to, you went in groups of two, and you had these lists. They would drop you off, and you'd go do all your stuff, and then some van would come around again. It was really actually fun. But the first store we went to, we knocked on the door and, did our little speech. And the guy slammed the door in our face. And I mean, he slammed it. Actually, like, wham. So we started laughing. And from then on, we just enjoyed ourselves. We had something to do. We were serious about it, but we didn't let it affect us if the people were rude or not rude. We just enjoyed ourselves and did a good job and did the best we could do. And it
In terms of
didn't
the
work.
precinct walking?
Precinct walking.
And were you recruited by the McCain campaign or by the
I just got an
RNC,
email.
or?
It was, I don't
You don't
remember
even
who
know?
sent it to me. I just got an email and I just responded to it. It was fun on the bus. They had 13 buses or something come from California, and they were big, nice buses, and everybody was noisy and from all over the state, and it was real interesting. We sat next to somebody from Ojai and ended up being friends with her, and it was fun.
Now, you have 9 children, and you and your husband were in Nevada.
The older have to babysit.
Watch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing about having 9 kids is it's a little crazy, but they're used to having 9 kids, and they take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So usually if we're going to go out of town, which we don't ever go out of the country together, but if we go out of the city or, area, we try to stay within a drivable one-day, time period. But we'll always have one of the older kids being
The caretaker.
the babysitter, quote
in
unquote.
charge.
Right.
So the election happens,
Yeah.
President Obama's,
So, after about 2 weeks, first 2 weeks, I thought President Obama was like acting like he was going to be a real moderate. He was, he had appointed the guy for transportation that was a Republican. I thought, well, that's kind of odd, So maybe he's going to be more moderate than I thought and not quite the radical and whatever. So I was thinking, well, okay, if he's not as radical, that's good. Then about a week later, he started doing some things that, and one of the things was Joe the plumber, when he said, yes, he was interested in just redistributing the wealth. That was really a concerning thing for me. And he started doing some more radical appointments, things that were going to be on his agenda I thought were some concerning things. So the real impetus for getting me to the position that I hold now in the Tea Party,
which is fairly recent, I'm guessing.
well, it was last year,
Okay.
January. And
So January '09?
uh-huh.
Okay.
I guess that's a year, almost 2 years now, sorry. But there's a guy that is on the Chicago Mercantile. His name's Rick Santelli, and I totally give him about 75% credit for me being in the position that I'm at. So
Because,
he did a rant, I don't know if you saw it, but he is a mercantile guy, and it's on a floor of the Mercantile, and you've got all the people that are similar positions where they buy and sell options, and so they're all like individually employed based on whatever they make is based on their actions. So he was on TV saying that he did not want to be paying for his neighbor's mortgage, and that was during the TARP, the mortgage meltdown and all that stuff. And so he was saying, Mr. President, are you listening? I do not want to pay for my neighbor's mortgage. And all the people in the back there, it was just ruckus. They were like, he goes, what do you guys think? Do you want to pay for your neighbor's mortgage? And they're all like, no, we don't want to. Leave us alone. Leave our money alone. And I was, wow. And so he said, I'm going to have a tea party in July in Chicago. He said, any of you guys that want to come to our tea party, come and join us. And that was really the impetus that got me started.
and did you go to Chicago?
No.
But you figured you could do what you
Well,
could
what
here.
happened shortly after, and I didn't know if we were going to go to break or not, but what happened shortly after is that...
Actually, we are going to go
Yeah.
to break in just a bit, so let's hold that
Okay.
thought. And then, if you can too, Carla, I'd like to go into why, obviously, the Boston Tea Party, and that's the reference to it, but how long has it been around, and it gained more notoriety after President Obama was elected, but was it lying dormant? And so it's really just since, it's a reaction to
There's never been a tea party since
that
the
one.
early Patriots.
Okay. Carla Bonney is our in-studio guest. She is the head of the Ventura County Tea Party, and you're watching KADYTV.com. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Maria Sanchez Show on KADYTV.com, about the county, by the county, and for the county. And we're continuing our conversation with Carla Bonney. She is the head of the chair of the Ventura County Tea Party. And Carla was telling us what got her to this point. So it's been almost 2 years, as you said.
Yes.
Were you the chair from the very get-go?
Well, what got me started in doing it locally versus going to Chicago is I got an email from a group saying, if you want to do a tea party, organize a tea party in your neighborhood or your city or state or whatever, you can sign up on this site. So I signed up for every city in Ventura County, because I figured if I didn't, then they might not have somebody signed up and people wouldn't know to go to Ventura versus Camarillo or something.
Right.
So I did join with a few people from Camarillo for the first event, and then from then on I've done it with other volunteers from the area, and including some of them from the very first event. Our first event was April 15th.
Of 09?
09, and it was at the Ventura County Government Center, and there was 2,000 to 3,000 people.
Really?
It was a good turnout. We've had several events since then, and they've all been good turnouts.
And what is the main goal of the Tea Party, and specifically the Ventura County Tea Party?
It's morphing, but the Ventura County Tea Party, I think, is taking on a pretty interesting turn. What we've done in the past is we've been real organized at getting educated. We started a website, which I gave you a bumper sticker of. That's the MAD and NGTTIA, which stands for Not Gonna Take It Anymore. I love the rant on Network where he says, go to your windows and yell out, I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore. So it fits me. I've had it. And I'm not going to take it anymore, so I started the website, got involved with the group. But we've been real involved in making phone calls, walking precincts, helping candidates in any manner, hosting events where candidates get to speak and get known. So we're real involved at that level. But we've recently, and I mean our first meeting was last night, started a group called Tea Party Observers. And that's going to be tracking local people in city council and county government. And we've found out that there's a lot of agendas going on, and including like parking in downtown Ventura now having pay to park meters. It's an agenda what's easily called either sustainable cities, smart growth, green cities, and it's a real plan that they have, which oftentimes is going to be taking away our personal freedoms at the whim of their decision on what your city should look like. So if you like somebody deciding a lot of decisions for you that you may not enjoy, then you wouldn't be involved. But if you think that you should have more of a say, then it's an easy thing to be involved. So what we're doing is having somebody that's going to be going to every city council meeting, looking at agendas. We're looking into these groups that are oftentimes like Heal the Bay or Surfrider Association or smartgrowth.org. There's a group called Cause that is kind of like an offshoot of Acorn, and Acorn got kind of a lot of notoriety. So some of these groups have a pretty liberal viewpoint of how your city should look in the future. And one of the things is they want everything infill, and they want to buy out land that's out of the area where people have private ownership and take away the ability to build in the future on that particular land that's outside the city, because they want all growth inside the city. They want people to be taking streetcars, bicycles. I mean, there's some good things in what they're planning, but the thing is, they're doing it at the fault of taking away your freedoms of choice. They're going to make it so that you won't have the choice to go against what they've decided.
And when you say they, are you referring to city councils?
There's city councils that are aligning with these groups. These groups are getting entrenched by putting people in city councils that are in agreement. And so then it's an easy thing for them to get what they're wanting out of the city put in place. And for example, there's a really quick observation that I can make, and one was that the city of Ventura suggested that we consider banning single-use plastic bags. And that was kind of what got me started on. I started looking into it, and I realized it really wasn't about the garbage. It was about that industry is off of oil production, and they want to ban anything oil. They want to say oil-free by 33. And so they've got a real agenda that if there's any product that comes from oil, whether or not it's a recycled product or recyclable, they're going after it. They had a thing in the Senate to ban plastic bags in the whole country that they hoped to get out in August, and it was heavily supported primarily by Heal the Bay and Surf Rider Association and Cause. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I actually reuse my single-use bags, and I talked with a woman that works for a company in Los Angeles that lives in Ventura. She said they employ 260 people, and they recycle plastic and plastic bags and create a disposable, good for the environment plastic bag. And when I suggested that to the mayor of the city, he made a flippant, and I call it flippant, that's my quote, remark that that company will not miss the recycled bags from our city. And so I said to him, how are you qualified to make the determination of what will be the factor that leads to people being laid off in a recyclable company if you decide that you're not going to give them the city's recycling via, trying to either minimize the use of recyclable plastic bags or cut it out. And he ended up saying that he realized that was flippant. But, recycled bags are primarily an American industry. They almost all come from the United States. So why would they attack an industry that can recycle?
Well, I think it's probably, because when I heard about that, I thought, go Ventura, because I've lived in Portland, Oregon, when they used to do curbside recycling in the 90s. And while a lot of Oregon is very liberal in that regard, but in terms of the climate, it seemed to be responsive. I reuse my bags too, but ultimately they don't decompose very quickly.
Yeah, but like companies like this go to the dumps, and they actually get the plastics from the actual dumps. And you can recycle your bags if you're not going to reuse them, you can take them to the grocery stores,
right,
and they'll pick them up. That's how they get their products. So they work with the trash collection agencies and the stores. So it's not perfect, but my thing is, you go to the river bottom, you take the homeless out of it once and for all, and you go to the river, the other river, and same thing. That's where the problem for the city is that the plastic bags are ending up there. Well, what do you think is going to happen when you have people living right where it goes into the ocean? So you have to be logical and look at things in a logical manner versus, they want to always take away our choices. They want to tell us what to do. So instead of having a society where you try to be logical and come to logical conclusions, they do it by taking away your freedom to choose.
So you're suggesting then that the Tea Party is going from national politics
as much national
to local communities,
right?
Or is this something that Carla Bonney is doing with the Tea Party?
This is something that Carla Bonney is doing with the Tea Party, and I'm actually going to be launching it nationally. So I have people in Arizona that want to do it. We had our first meeting last night. We had like 40 people, and so we've got the county of Ventura covered. And so we will be having name tags when we go to city council meetings. People will be wearing a Tea Party Observer name tag, so it'll be obvious who we are. So we're just getting organized, but nationwide, if you don't start taking back your country at the level that affects you the most, which is the local level, you have no chance to take it back at the federal level. Less of a chance, let's just put it that way, because truthfully, the local level affects you more than the federal.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss a little bit more of the Tea Party /candidate /election, and then folks who are watching a call to action, how they can get involved other than the website, which we'll plug again, and what sort of opportunities there are for people, because some may be homebound, some may be not have socioeconomical ability to be as involved, some may be able to make phone calls like you did,
right,
et cetera. So we'll get into that.
Okay.
Carla Bonney is our guest. She is the chair of the Ventura County Tea Party. This is Maria Sanchez. We will take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you for watching KADYTV.com. Maria Sanchez back with YTV.com, continuing our conversation with Carla Bonney, the chair of the Ventura County Tea Party. And Carla, we started talking about the Tea Party in terms of national, because you were speaking about the presidential election. Then we got into Chicago, we got into precinct walking in Nevada. Now we're talking about Ventura County and
Right.
Ventura County
And
city
then-
councils.
Yeah, and county council, and then the fact that actually I'm taking it nationally. So
To go to the other way.
this concept can go to any city in any state.
Right, I see
And
that.
it's very, very easy to do, and a lot of people can volunteer without having to spend too much time traveling. Or like a lot of times when you're doing the federal stuff, you have to go to Washington DC in order to be effective, or go to the headquarters for the representative that you're trying to affect change with. This is local, so you're right there in your community, and a lot of times you know the city council people, and you know some of their past history or what you like or don't like about them, and so it's something, if you actually have people that are responsible, it's considered a job, and I ask people to at least give a 6-month commitment. I said I'd prefer a year, but at least 6 months.
But when you say Tea Party, to me, that used to always represent renegades outside the system, not within the Republican Party. Is that the way you lean? Or it sounds to me like you're an independent
Not
Republican.
within the Republican Party. There's all kinds of people in the Tea Party movement. There's a lot of libertarians, and then there's even people that would consider themselves more like blue dog Democrats, where they just don't like some of the choices that Democrats of today are making. Because the Democrats of today have, I mean, the people that are in office, they're just so extreme. I've never seen such an extreme group. You just might as well say that President Obama is just like Hugo Chavez. I mean, in the paper yesterday, I read that he is now going to, after this election, because he knows it's going to be a landslide victory for the Republicans or Tea Party-ish type people, he said he's going to do more legislating through the executive office and just not go through the Congress. Now, who does that sound like to you? Like a dictator to me. I can't believe that was the Los Angeles Times front page yesterday.
So I don't want people to be turned off, though, by if they hear Tea Party thinking that it's all red, necessarily.
All red meaning?
As in Republican.
Oh.
So, because it sounds to me like you're trying to be more inclusive.
Oh, yeah,
than-
it's always been a real group of mix.
Your group, okay.
Well, no, nationwide.
See, nationwide, I don't get that.
That's
that
because the
sense.
media tries to portray that it's all Republicans, and I can guarantee you it's not, because I'm on lists of all the Tea Parties, and I get all their stuff, and it's got for one thing, got a lot of libertarians. I mean, I'd say maybe 40%. So how can that be just, Republicans? And then I bet you have at least 10% Democrats, and then you've got the rest call themselves conservatives, independents, and Republicans. So it's just a wide group of people, and it's a group that really just does not like socialism or communism. They want to, if they, most of the people have their own business or work for a business, or if they work for the city or county, they're hiding and saying, please don't say that we're part of the group, but we don't like what they're doing, but we could get fired. I have people that won't come to the Tea Party rallies because they're afraid they'll get photographed because they do work for the military. So there's a lot of angry people. How is it that you can't go to a Tea Party rally if you do work with the military? Like somebody would take your photo and use it against you. Well, if you go to a union rally for health care, nobody's like taking pictures there to see who's going to the union rally for
Right.
health care.
So in terms of, in between now and November 2nd, what is it that folks can do who have similar?
Oh, there's a lot of people making phone calls for candidates right now.
Do you have a slate that you endorse?
Well, we've always kind of said as Tea Party people that we don't make a grandiose endorsement. I always tell people, I'll tell you my picks, but I always do it with the caveat that it's my picks based on my, looking into things. The main times that is helpful is when there's judges or city council, because usually the other people are pretty obvious, is the way I look at it. So if somebody wants to email me, I will give them my picks.
Do you post that on the website?
No.
Okay, so you really keep it private?
I will send an email to everybody on the website. So if somebody wants to join the website, they'll get that email, because it is going to go out tomorrow, or they can ask me to send it to them.
Okay.
But it's my concept.
But when you're asking Tea Party people in Ventura County to make phone calls, you're asking them to make phone calls for specific candidates and
For
to
whomever
vote?
they feel comfortable with, but it's pretty obvious. I mean, to me, there's only certain people to feel comfortable with if you're a Tea Party person. And that's, our three
Do you want to
main
go on the
goals-
record and say?
Well, like our three goals is less government, less taxation and spending, and a return to upholding the Constitution. I am very comfortable with Elton Gallegly, and I think most Tea Party people highly endorse him. I'm very comfortable with Tom Watson, who's running for Lois Capps' spot. Lois Capps has got, I think, the most liberal voting record of anyone in Congress. She's been in there for 12 years, and she needs to get out. She has a gerrymandered district, and they did that so that it would turn into a liberal district, and it's the longest district in the country. So I'm hoping that with redistricting that they're going to be doing shortly, that will get changed. But so I'm for Tom Watson. I'm for Jeff Gorell. I'm for, gosh, who else? Can't even think.
What
right now.
about treasurer tax collector?
Well, I'm going to be for Strickland, Tony Strickland. I'm for Damon Dunn. For locally, Stephen Hintz for the treasurer locally, tax collector. Can't think right now of
I
other
think
people.
you've
Kind of
pretty
covered
much
most of it.
exhausted, yeah. There's,
Mike Stoker, but he's kind of, going up north a little bit towards Santa Barbara, but I'm for him.
So in terms of how you make the organization fly, do you take donations?
We don't really take donations to the organization. We're not a nonprofit. We're just a grassroots group. And it's a little harder to do it that way in some regards, but it's less government interference. So it's kind of like a in-your-face to the government, truthfully. I'm sick of them getting involved in every single aspect of my life. So if there's something I can do to not have them involved, have at it. So what we do is we have people write checks, like if we're going to get printing or something, they just pay for it. We don't take money because we don't take a salary, so what's the point?
Right.
So people are pretty good about it. Every once in a while we're out of pocket money, but that's just the way it is.
So here, why don't you
So this,
put your
everybody
website
always
up.
like, this is my website. Everybody always says, what does NGTTIA stand for? And it's just the acrostics for not going to take it anymore. So we're mad and we're not going to take it anymore. It's a website that is interactive. It's a Ning site, and so you can go on and blog. You can add or look at videos and photos and look at people's blogs. There's some pretty good writers on the site. And then they keep you up to date on everything nationally that's going on. So you just look at it once a day or something, you'll see what's going on. Kind of like a Drudge Report for the Tea Party.
And we should mention October 18th is the last day that you can register to vote, or register if you've changed your address or you've changed your name. And because obviously, if you don't vote, you're not going to make a difference. You can have all the opinions that you want, but if you don't vote, what's the point?
And I felt the most comfortable either voting on the day of the election or going down to the county government center to vote versus the mail.
Yeah, I
just one
stopped
less-
doing that
it's
with
one less
the hanging
temptation.
chad.
Yeah.
I used to always vote absentee, and now I go to my polling place.
Right.
Now, KADYTV.com, including myself, will be at the government center on November 2nd when the returns start coming in. So if you're going to be around,
We
we'd
have a
love to have
party
you.
that night that people can come to too, that's going to be at the Wedgwood Banquet Center. And we're going to start it at about 6:30, and we'll have a large screen also. And it's open bar and free appetizers, and we've invited
Maybe
a
we'll
lot.
start there and then go to the government center
Yeah.
around 8 o'clock when the polls close.
Yeah.
Well, Carla, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
your time. It's been a real pleasure. I haven't met Carla before. Carla Bonney is the Ventura County Tea Party Chair. This is Maria Sanchez with KADYTV.com. Thank you so much for your time.